Last week we looked at this idea that Jesus belongs on the throne of our heart, and that we all have to make that decision for ourselves. And this week I want to take a look at something slightly different. When last week was all about why Jesus, this week I want to take a look at why not us. But before we get there, let's back up just a few years. You see, I was working at a body shop in Mannheim, and I go to work one day and my boss is like, "Hey Seth, we need you to go to Maryland in just a few days to work. There's a shop down there, they need some help, and so we're gonna send you there." Which is fine. It's an hour and a half from my house, so it's like inconvenient, but I'll survive it. But the thing you have to know about me is that I am terrible with directions. Like I need my phone to get anywhere. Even the places I go to like every single day, the places that you'd expect me to know how to get to, I can't do it. The grocery store, my parents' house, like places around town that are 5 minutes down the street, I'm always using my phone for GPS. The problem is, the week before this, I was at my grandma's house, and I found this old flip phone, the kind that all it does is text and make phone calls. And I had this kind of moment where I'm like, you know what? I am sick of my smartphone. I'm addicted to it, and I need to do something about it. And so I did. I deactivated my iPhone, and I started using this flip phone every single day, not anticipating that I'd have to travel for work. And so my boss tells me this, I'm like, oh crap, I'm never gonna get there. I am the worst with directions, and now I have nothing to guide me. But I did remember that my grandparents used to print off directions off the internet on like actual pieces of paper. So I did this. You can still do this today. I don't even know if you know this. So I printed off directions and I just went towards Maryland. Here's what I didn't anticipate. If you make one wrong turn using paper directions, that's it. Like game over. It's not rerouting you and getting you back on the right path. And so inevitably I got lost. And it's 6:45 in the morning, I'm lost, I'm flustered at this point because I'm like, oh crap, I'm gonna be late for work, and that bothers me. And so I was looking for this place to stop at, and I found this really sketchy truck stop. It's the only place that was open at the time, and so I stop and I go in, and I had to talk to a stranger, which is terrifying in and of itself. He gave me directions, and he's like,
"Yeah, go down the road 2 miles and make a left. You'll see then a tree, and go past the tree, take your second right, it'll be about another quarter of a mile."
And I don't know if you've ever gotten directions from a human, but they're the worst. Like, I have no clue. I don't know how I'm judging distance, and I don't know how you know how far 2 miles is just off the top of your head. But eventually I stopped a couple more times to get other directions from other people, and I did make it to work. And I'd love to say that was the last time that I got lost. Like after that I got smarter and I got rid of the flip phone and went back to my smartphone, but I'm stubborn. And so I'm like, nope, I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm determined to keep doing this. And getting lost just kind of became a normal part of my life. And so what I would do now is I would pull over the side of the road, I'd find a random house, I'd look up the address, I'd call my wife and say, okay, here's where I'm at and here's where I need to go. I need you to look up on Google Maps the directions, and I made her stay on the phone and read me turn-by-turn directions. So I didn't need GPS anymore because I had my wife. Let's just say that she loved that, and actually she hated it, and because I wanted to stay married, I went back to my smartphone and got rid of the flip phone. But the point of all of that is that I suck with directions. Like my mental maps, they're non-existent. I can't get to where I want to go. I might know where I want to go, but I have no clue how to get there. And I think the same is true when it comes to life. I think all of us have some idea of where we're trying to get to in life. And so just take a moment right now and just think about that. Like, what is it that you're trying to achieve in life? What is it that you're after? What are your dreams, your goals? Who are you trying to become? Now, some of you, maybe you're just hoping to pass a test that you have tomorrow. Or maybe you want your team to make it to districts this year. Maybe your dreams and your goals and your visions are more in the future. And you've got a college that you're hoping to get into. Or you've got a career that you're pursuing and you're just envisioning what that might be like someday. Or you're picturing your future family. Maybe for you, you're just trying to be a good person or be happy. I don't know what it is for you, but all of us have these things that we're striving after, that we're going after. And I actually think if you look at any of those things, whatever it is that you're thinking of, I think we can actually go a level deeper. And I think the things that all of us are chasing after, whether we're saying it's a test or it's sports or a career or whatever, I think it all boils down to we're all looking for love. We're all looking for acceptance. We want a place to belong. We want safety and security. We want to feel like we're enough. And that's what all of us are chasing after in life. And so what do? We know where we're going. And so we just grab the wheel and we start going there. We try and guide ourselves to that point. I mean, it makes sense. Like, who better to guide me in what I'm trying to do and where I'm trying to go than me? I know myself better than anyone else. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know my preferences, my desires. I know my feelings. I know everything about me. Or at least I think I do. There's actually a guy in the Bible by the name of Jeremiah. And Jeremiah was a prophet. A prophet was just someone who they would get a message from God to tell the people. And usually these messages, they weren't the greatest. They were actually kind of depressing and sad. And so if you saw a prophet coming, you tried to avoid them. But here's the message that Jeremiah gave to the people in Jeremiah chapter 17. He says, "This is what the Lord says. Cursed are those who put their trust in mere humans, who rely on human strength and who turn their hearts away from the Lord. They are like stunted shrubs in the desert, with no hope for the future. They will live in the barren wilderness in an uninhabited, salty land." And then skip down just a few verses, we read, "The human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is?" And so what Jeremiah is saying is we might think we know ourselves, but we don't. Our feelings, they lie to us. Our desires, they're messed up, they're broken. The things that we think we want in life, maybe we don't actually know what we are truly after. And I think what Jeremiah is really saying is that we aren't good guides. Our mental maps are broken. Our idea of the way that the world should work isn't right. We live in a broken, sinful world, and that means everything is broken and messed up, including ourselves, including our wants and our desires and our feelings and our preferences and everything about us. It can't always be trusted. And this idea of you do you kind of follow your heart, do whatever makes you feel good, whatever you're feeling in the moment, just go for it. Carve your own path out in life. They sound good, but it's not ultimately going to lead us to the place that we want to go, to the place of love and acceptance, of peace, of safety and security and belonging. When I was a freshman in high school, I determined early on that I was going to pursue a career in computer science. And so I did all my research and I figured out like all the classes that I needed to take. I joined a bunch of clubs to make my application look really good. Even if I didn't show up to the club, I still wrote it down. I competed in different sports to look like I was well-rounded. I knew what tests I needed to take, like the ACT and the SAT and the SAT2. I knew all of these things. I had my top 3 schools picked out, all of it. And then I even knew like to the point where I was going to graduate college and go and work for Google as a software engineer. My whole life had been planned. We fast forward to my senior year and I had already started the application process with my top school. It was early deferment, and so I was through most of the process at this point. I had gone and visited the college. I had talked through all the financial aid stuff. I had even gone and had interviews with different alumni. And then they messaged me and said, "Hey, we just want to see your second semester transcripts." Like I was really far along in the process. And it was at that moment that I kind of had this existential crisis. This moment where I began to question everything. And I'm like, okay, what is it that I'm actually chasing after? What is it that I'm going towards? And so, yes, I want to go work for Google. I want to be well respected. I want to make a lot of money. That's what I was seeking after. I wanted to live comfortably and happy. And so I tried to think about, okay, is that it? Is that all there is to my life? Or is there something more? Is there something else I should be chasing after? And I didn't know. I was wrestling with it. And so I made a decision right then and there that I don't think I just want to be about living comfortably and happy and making a lot of money and gaining the respect of others. I thought there had to be something else. So I made a decision right there that I'm not going to pursue that anymore. And I don't know if that was the right decision or not, but that's the decision I made. And so when they wanted to see my second semester transcripts, I never sent them in. I just stopped. I had no other plan. I had no other career option. I had nothing else mapped out. I just knew that I don't think I want to pursue that anymore. Everyone around me, they thought I was crazy. Like, why would you give up on that school? But I'm like, okay, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I felt lost because all my friends at this point, I mean, we're talking April or May, they've already committed to a school. They're wearing their t-shirts and celebrating and getting excited for what's next. And me, I can't join in their excitement because I have no clue what I'm doing with my life. I feel like I should have it figured out, and I didn't. And if I'm really honest, I just felt lost. I feel like Jeremiah described, I felt hopeless. I felt like I didn't know what I wanted in life, and there were days where it just felt all meaningless. Like, what's the point anymore? Days where I'm like, everything I had been working towards the past 4 years, all the classes I took, all the clubs I joined, everything I've been working towards, it doesn't matter anymore because I'm not doing that. And so I just wrestled, like, what next? There were days when it was just honestly really hard to get out of bed in the morning because it felt pointless. It felt meaningless. I had nothing else driving me, nothing else guiding me, nothing else to work towards. And so I just got really kind of apathetic in life. And I think this is what happens when we kind of become our own guides, when we try and steer our own lives, when we call the shots, when we put ourselves on the throne. You see, I had something I've been working towards. I was in control of my life. And the moment that I lost control, that was it. I spiraled. I lost it. I didn't know what to do anymore. And I don't know where you're at. Maybe you're listening to my story and you're like, you know what? I'm not trying to control my life. I'm not in that spot. And if that's you, cool. Like, maybe. But I would challenge you, think deeper. Because there's got to be at least one area in your life that you're still holding on to control in. There's got to be at least something in your life that you're still trying to guide yourself in to control. We all have it. And so just be honest with yourself. Be willing to sit and really think about it. There are others of you who you hear my story and you can relate. Maybe even right now you feel those feelings of like lost, hopeless. Maybe you look at your friends and they're all excited about life and you really aren't anymore because you don't know what's happening. Maybe you're wrestling with depression and just trying to figure out what's next for you. If that's you, can I give you some hope? You see, Jeremiah doesn't end his message with just this depressing news, but he actually does give something uplifting, some hope, something to cling to. Here's what he says. He says, "But blessed are those who trust in the Lord and have made the Lord their hope and confidence. They are like trees planted along a riverbank, with roots that reach deep into the water. Such trees are not bothered by the heat or worried by long months of drought. Their leaves stay green and they never stop producing fruit." Jeremiah offers an alternative to us guiding our own life. We don't have to live a life that feels lost and hopeless and barren and like a dried up shrub. It doesn't have to be us. We don't have to navigate life alone. You don't have to figure everything out on your own. And that's good news. The reality is that Jesus wants to guide you. Jesus wants to guide you. He wants to show you the way towards love and acceptance and peace and belonging and safety and security and all the things that we really want at the deepest core of who we are. Jesus wants to show us the way. He doesn't just want to show us the way, but Jesus is the way. So how do we begin to allow Jesus to guide us? What does that even look like? Well, here are 3 things I think you can start with. 1, I would say you need to process and talk to God and say, God, is there anything in my life that I'm still trying to control? Is there any area in my life that I'm still sitting on the throne, anything that I'm still trying to guide that I just need to give over to you? Because you can't fix something that you don't know is broken. And so take time this week and process that. Think about that and be real with yourself. If you're in a group, that's also a great place to start. You just need sometimes other people to speak into your life. And they might see things in you that you can't see yourself. You might have blind spots and things that you're doing, habits that you have, things that you're still trying to control that you don't even realize. And they can help you out and say, hey, here's what I see. And so that's a great place to start. Second thing I would say is, if you want Jesus to guide you, you have to know where he's leading. You have to know what he says. You have to listen to him. And so spend time reading the Bible. I would start with the biographies of Jesus, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and just see how Jesus lived his life. See what he says, see what he teaches, and then put those things into action. Actually, I did this a few years ago. The only thing I read for an entire year was Matthew 5, 6, and 7, the Sermon on the Mount. That's the only passage in the Bible I read for an entire year. And that was a game changer because I just understood the way of Jesus so much better after that. And so maybe that's where you want to start as well. And then finally, go to God and just make a decision that you don't want to be your guide anymore, but you want Jesus to guide you. And say, Jesus, here, have my life, take it. You be the guide. I am stepping off of the throne. I want you to step onto the throne. And just pray that prayer and see what happens. Because the truth is, we aren't good guides. We need somebody else to guide us through life, to navigate us in life, to lead us towards the things that we truly want. And Jesus is that way.